Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Tax in 10 with me, Rachel de Souza, and Andrew Robbins. We are both tax partners in RSM's London office and have a wealth of experience in dealing with a wide variety of private client matters. Your feedback is valuable to us, so do keep it coming, especially if you have thoughts on any topics that you would like us to cover. You can contact us by email, and our email addresses are at the bottom of your screen.
As you know, Rachel, I do like my politics, and where politics and tax come together, I'm always a happy man. So I was interested to read the stories recently about the debate in the Conservative Party about tax. Now, this particular question is because there are some elements in the party that are really keen to reverse the corporation tax increases that's due to take effect on the 1st of April. But the word is that the Prime Minister and Chancellor are set against this. So I thought today maybe we could talk about the implications.
Well, hang on. Let me stop you right there and just remind you that Tax in 10 is all about private client matters and not about your political obsessions or corporation tax.
But that's where I'm being clever, you see. Because although I want to talk about corporation tax, what I really want to talk about is FICs and PICs, which are definitely on topic for us.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll give you a bit of rope on this one. But before you get too techie, let's remind ourselves what PICs and FICs are and why clients actually use them.
I think I should take offence at the idea that it's possible to get too techie. There is no such thing as too techie. But honestly, a lot of the time we tend to use the terms FIC and PIC fairly interchangeably. The main difference, of course, is that a PIC is a personal investment company. So a single shareholder might own all of the shares, whereas a FIC is a family investment company. So you'd expect the shareholding to be spread across the family. I mean, realistically, though, in both cases, what we're really talking about is a company that's holding investments for the benefit of the shareholders and typically as a long-term structure. So a FIC or a PIC is no different in tax terms to any other UK company, really, which means it's subject to corporation tax on its income and gains, although like all UK companies, it benefits from an exemption from tax on most dividends it receives. And historically, that has meant that one of the appeals of a FIC is the ability to roll up investment returns at a lower tax rate.
Yes, that's right. And the way that this has worked in the past is that rather than paying income tax personally at 45% on interest, say, or 39.35% on dividends, the company pays 19% on most income and nothing at all on dividends.
Yeah.
From a capital gains point of view, of course, with CGT rates at 20%, the difference between that and 19% corporation tax is minimal. But within the company, you are always then better off in tax terms. Well, certainly until now. The announcement that the main rate of corporation tax was going to raise to 25% from 1st of April 2023 changes the analysis a bit. Even FICs which qualify as small companies get taxed at the full rate of corporation tax, i.e. the 25%. So from April, companies will actually pay a higher rate of tax on capital gains than individuals will. And on top of that, of course, if you want to get your money out of the company as a dividend or perhaps on liquidation, there's a second tax charge to pay. And, as you and I know, this has always been the case.
Yeah.
So obviously, a FIC receiving dividends won't be affected by this change in the corporation tax rate because the company still pays no tax. But the question is, if the Chancellor gets his way and the corporation tax does go up as planned, does that mean FICs are no longer a good idea?
Well, let me give you a good, solid technical tax answer to that question. It depends.
Oh, Andrew, that's no help at all.
It's true. if the overriding reason for having a FIC is to pay less tax than you would personally, then the higher corporation tax rate means that in a lot of cases, you won't any longer actually be achieving that outcome. But actually, compared to things like offshore insurance bonds, in many cases, FICs were already less tax efficient. Now, in other cases where the point of the FIC is as part of an estate planning strategy or with an eye on cashing in after leaving the UK, I think the change in tax rates doesn't really affect their appeal at all.
I'm not so sure. I mean, whilst I agree that many will have set up their FICs for estate planning purposes, I can't see them being over the moon about having to pay an extra 5% on growth in value.
But in those cases, do you think people with a FIC should be considering winding them up?
My view is that shareholders and FICs and PICs should not just sleepwalk into the new CT environment and should take the time to consider the impact on the long-term strategy for the company. Now, my guess would be that in most cases, clients will retain the structure, but at least they should make an active decision to do so.
Yeah. I mean, if they're doing that, it's also really important that they review their investment strategy. So having a FIC which is focused on capital growth is going to be increasingly less tax efficient compared to maximizing dividend yield. And working out the best strategy is definitely something that needs investment input because it's certainly way out of our comfort zone as tax people. There is, of course, another factor here, which is the general election. If you're thinking about the future of your FIC, you also need to get out your crystal ball and predict what might happen next year. So if you think that CGT rates might go up significantly, making gains in the company could become attractive again. But on the other hand, liquidating the company you already have would then be much more expensive. So I think really is a case that any decision about the future of a FIC is one that you need to make and implement in the next 12 months, especially because I think there's mutterings now that the next election might be spring 24 rather than autumn 24 as we were previously thinking. So to wrap up, I think it's worth emphasizing that I'm not suggesting at all really that people shouldn't use FICs in future. I know both of us are still actively implementing these for clients, and I don't see that changing, certainly not for me. But the real message from today is that the ground rules are changing. And now, in a way, it's actually easier for new structures because we can advise on the implications before we start, and people are going into it with their eyes open and a very clear objective as to what they want to get out of it. But I do think that anyone with an existing investment company needs to spend some time and to talk to their advisors to make sure it is actually still fit for purpose.
Yeah, and we're in total agreement on that point.
Excellent. On which happy note, do you have a recommendation for me?
I do have something for you. It's this time it's not a Netflix series, but it's something on ITV. And it's a relatively new series. I think they're up to episode 4 or 5 by now, and it's called Maternal. And it's got the wonderful actress called Parminder Nagra, who plays one of the lead roles. Now, you might remember, or people watching this might remember her from years ago when she played the lead actress in Bend It Like Beckham.
Oh, yeah.
But so Maternal is about 3 women. They're all senior medical professionals in one way, shape or form. And so it's based around a hospital, as so many dramas or these types of things are. But what I really like about it is it's really bringing that female focus to the work environment. Difficulties with childcare, difficulties with being in one or trying to be in 2 places at once, difficulties with husbands having affairs, that sort of thing. It's very much the stories are told from a female perspective. And I don't think we've seen a lot of, these types of sort of dramas told in that way. We often see it from a male perspective. So yes, so I'm very happy with this program. So once again, it's called Maternal and it's on ITV.
Fabulous.
So with that, thank you for listening. As always, please do let us have your comments and feedback. And as a reminder, we can be contacted on andrew.robbins@rsmuk.com and rachel.d'Souza@rsmuk.com.
Bye.
Bye for now.